Okay, saying my internet's acting crazy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Edna White. If you are like thinking what's going on with Edna today, well, my internet is giving me problems. I'm so excited that I got on. But you are on Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I am your host, Edna White. And today we have an esteemed guest by the name of Naomi Kreske. And she comes to us from Middletown, Delaware. Now, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her so she can tell you a little bit of the rest. She is Naomi Kreske, a certified life coach, founder of Keep Finding You Life Coaching. She's a wife and a mother, a woman of transformation, and she transforms other people's lives. So, after facing one of her life's toughest challenges, which was divorce, you know us ladies, right? She survived through that, but she was able to rebuild her life. And she's going to probably share a lot of that today with us. Welcome to the show, Naomi.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to keep it real.
I love your title. Keep finding yourself. I almost said you founded keeping it real, but you
Yes.
keep
We
finding
found each other.
you. That is like so great. Like keep
Yes.
coming back to you. Tell us how you that name. Tell us about that name, how it got to be.
Well, because I feel like at some point in your life, you feel like you've figured it out,
Yeah.
but you don't. And I feel like somebody out there needs to give us all permission to keep finding
Yeah.
yourself, and that it's
Yeah.
okay. Because you want to keep growing, you want to keep evolving, so you're never done. So it's
No.
okay if you have to keep finding yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to do, is to help you keep finding yourself.
Yeah. That's good. I know over my life time, you know how we're I guess we're predisposed to know that we only have one purpose and one way it's done, right? That's what
Yeah.
it is. And so in one juncture in my life, I was like, what am I here for? I did that over there. What am I here for? Um, is keep finding yourself part of integrating your purpose or redefining your purpose?
I mean, definitely. Like so many people out there are lost and need some more clarity in their life. And
Mm-hmm.
clarity is the word, but so many people are unaware of how to get it.
Right, right.
And for me, it starts with self-awareness
Yeah,
and that long look in the mirror that a lot of people don't want to do.
yeah,
Or don't really know how to do, or might
yeah,
not be
exactly.
emotionally equipped to do it. So
Yeah,
um, it's the place to start, and I
yeah,
like to help people figure that out.
yeah. I totally agree with you. When when we're trying to figure out these things, these buzzwords come about. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. My grandson. So he's having he's going to be 17 next month, and so he wants to be outgoing. He wants to climb out of his shell. He's ready to climb out. So he's telling me this. How do I start to do that? So outside that clarity, that buzzword that we hear all the time, can you share with the audience what clarity really is?
Um, it's that look, it's that deep look inside your soul
Hmm.
and what really lights you up.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, what really, you know, is your purpose.
Hmm.
So finding that can be tricky sometimes. And sometimes it
Yeah.
changes, you know. I'm the queen of the pivot. I've pivoted so many times
Me
in my
too.
life. Never in my life did I think that I would be here.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I am. You know, every
Right.
crazy pivot in my life has led me to where exactly I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think those pivots are so important because if we don't pivot, we can be stuck. We get stuck, and that's what a pivot is
Yeah.
for. I used to watch basketball back in the day when Charles Barkley was around, and Pippen, Scottie Pippen, all of them.
That's
They
when
were
basketball
around.
was fun to watch.
Oh, I was a deep fan of them. It's like I was
Yeah.
deep, and I had every time the game was on, I had the socks, the
Yeah.
shorts on the shirt. I was gone. I was gone, and they meant the game was something for me back then. But
Yeah.
I figured out when they got stuck, when they get stuck, they pivot, and clarity can be that pivot you need.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times people associate a pivot with something bad happening.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
a
good.
lot of times it's not something bad, it's something that's turning you towards the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So rejection is redirection.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I live with that. I have to remind myself sometimes, when things are heavy and hard,
Yeah.
it's because the universe is guiding me to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that one. That one was really good. Hashtag that one, ladies and gentlemen. That's a good one. That's a good one. So, reminding ourselves that this is, and tell me how to apply the pause button in that clarity too. So while we're pivoting, help us to pause.
Well, it's perspective. Like it's, you take a minute and you step back and you try to look at the bigger picture,
Yeah.
which when you're hot and heavy in the moment, it's very hard to do because you're crazy, you want to solve it, you're anxious, you're excited, you're whatever, but you got to
Yes.
take that step back
Yeah.
and really see what the pivot and what the clarity is telling you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the pause comes in when I think I was online. I was doing a live, and so person was saying, "Pray for me. I'm getting anxious." I said, "Stop typing and just calm down.
Yeah.
Just sit still." And they were like, "Is that easy?" I said, "Yeah." Most of the time, what happens is we think that we have to keep doing this, but we can't hear what's really going on inside for us. Because go ahead.
Society has taught us to muscle
Yes.
through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just sit back and take a breath, like
Yeah.
that deep breath, and just breath work is very important.
It's powerful in itself.
It is very powerful.
Yeah.
And you just take a deep breath, then you can recenter and focus yourself and then attack the problem with some clarity.
Yeah. Really,
Yeah.
it really is. It gives you can see what's going on. You're so aware of everything now. So
Yeah.
It's even great. I use the pause button a lot when I first started really trying to understand what pause was. And you know how we make those impetuous buys and we make those impetuous yeses, and I put the pause button on a lot when I know I don't want to do something.
Right.
And the person is actually in front of me, saying it to me is like, just give me a moment and, have this conversation with myself. And I actually, if I want to say no, I just say no, not at this time. And people are thrown off by that, but that's a pause because sometimes you have to be reflective. When you do something you don't want to do, guess what it does for you? What does it do? It really did self-denial. It diminishes you, and
it lowers your energy. Like
it does, right?
Yeah.
You're like grumbling the whole time.
Yeah. So that's some powerful self-awareness, your pause button. But I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. They don't want to upset anybody. And, boundaries is another hot word these days. And finding out what your boundaries need to be is the first step. But then even just enforcing your boundaries is also another challenge, especially with people that aren't used to what your boundaries are. So it's challenging to
it is.
Maintain your energy these days.
Yeah, it's very challenging for some, and sometimes in families, it's very difficult for our young adults. Our young adults, like between 14 and 17, they're building themselves up to be their own person.
Yeah.
And so, if there's some bad patterns, toxicity, dysfunction, it's hard for them to kind of figure that out. Breath work is great. I have someone that I mentor, and she's always calling me, and I'm like, okay, breathe. And then she's like, that even makes me feel even better. I know what to do. I was like, see, you solved your own problem. Well, you have to
Right.
just breathe, and sometimes you just need a quick breath,
Yeah.
because everything's happening in the moment. As you said, the hustle of stuff, right?
Yes. I'm a huge fan of meditation. I love
Oh, me
starting
too.
my day off with just grounding in and, that firm foundation for an excellent
Yeah,
day.
yeah. 7 years strong, 7 years strong, no turning back.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have that grounding because we're energy, we're electric, we're all of that. And if we don't have
Yeah.
something to kind of ground us, we end up going with all that. There's people out there, there's things that are going on that will snatch your energy. You gotta
Yeah.
have a grounding, and if you're not grounded, you'll probably be enveloped in whatever energy that's happening.
Yeah. The energy
Especially
suckers will
now.
suck all your energy.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So let's talk about sucking the energy. I like that. Let's go on over there. Let's stay right there about that sucking energy. Because years ago I wrote a book called Love Zombie, and it talks about relationships and sucking energy and eating your brains and all of this great stuff. I truly do believe that we forget, or we're not really utilizing who we really are. We're human beings, but we are so energetic, right? We're so energetic. A lot of my clients, and maybe you can attest to this. A lot of my clients will say to me, "I don't understand why they came towards me. They sought me out." I was like, "No, your energy. Let's talk about
So,
that."
yeah. So I used to be married to a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
So the narcissists are the king of the
Yeah,
energy
yeah,
suckers
yeah, yeah,
because they need your energy.
yeah,
It's kind of sad because
yeah.
narcissists are so insecure that they have to have this bravado about
Yep,
them
yep.
that makes them feel better about themselves, and
That's
then
correct.
they find the people out there that are so
Yep,
giving and so loving and have such high energy, and they just feed on that energy. And it's unfortunate because the people that have the energy to give, they just want to keep giving, and the suckers just want to keep sucking.
yes, yeah.
So
It's
it's
a
a
challenge.
symbiotic
I hear people
relationship,
talking
but
about narcissists, all the time, all the time.
yeah.
You know, give us a little bit more about that because I think the audience really needs to know about, a real life example because we hear it, we see it on, we hear it. I know I hear it all the time, but I didn't know that I was married to a narcissist. I had no idea. I just thought they were selfish and self-centered. But it's
Yeah.
more to the narcissist. It's more to that. So,
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, so my story with my ex-husband, it's a little unusual.
Uh-huh.
um, we were happily married for 10 years, and then
Okay.
uh, my marriage got pulled out from under me. Like, I had no idea that it was going to happen, but all of a sudden he's leaving and
Wow.
leaving for someone else
Wow.
out of nowhere. And I was floored. I had 3 young children, 5,
Wow.
3, and 9 months. And I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. And I had to muscle through life. I had to
Right.
pick my life up and try to figure it out.
Wow.
And the unusual part here is that we still owned a business together
Oh, wow.
and continued to own that business together until this time last year.
Okay.
So for 17 years, we owned a restaurant together. And I ran the business, and he, bartended and did other owner things. But I had to deal with his narcissism, like in such a way that most divorced people don't have to deal with.
Wow. I know that I really this really interests me because I've been divorced before, and but I hear the story a lot. Just take us through that, because women really need to know about this, and men too. They might be married to someone who's a narcissist, but take us through that if you don't mind.
Yeah, no. For me, because I am a nurturer. That's just my that's who I am. I have this calming presence. I love to take care of people. I'm good at it. And he needed a lot of taking care of. He was a
Okay.
mama's boy. He was the baby of
Right.
the family. And he he had that bravado. He needed that bravado as like an armor, a defense against his own insecurities.
Okay.
But through our divorce, I was like, I don't have to deal with that anymore. And it took me years and years to finally create boundaries that separated that behavior.
Wow.
That, I no longer was going to tolerate him trying to suck the life out of me and have me as his ex-wife still take care of him, take care of his business, take care of our children almost exclusively. And it's like, I am not dealing with that anymore. But, so I have the boundaries, but then, narcissists, they don't like to follow the rules. They want to follow their own rules. And then if their rules aren't serving them, then they'll change them. It's like this craziness of they get to do what they want all the time.
Okay.
And they surround themselves with people that will tolerate that. So when I started to not tolerating that anymore, he like lost his mind. Like it was just like, because now I was still somehow his foundation, and his foundation was crumbling even further. And it was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. We are not living this way anymore. But it was exhausting. It was exhausting to try to maintain these boundaries with him. And I am very grateful for the fact that I finally got up the courage to leave the restaurant and create even more separation between our lives.
That's good. I'm going to tell you, as you're explaining this, I went through this, and I'm like, I couldn't explain it. I'm like, the mama's boy thing. That's the mama's boy thing. The mama's boys thing.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one. There's. Okay. Let me just clarify. There's someone who loves his mom, respects his mom.
Yeah.
But then when it's the mama's boy, I didn't know. I was scrolling through YouTube one day. My sister kept telling me about this show, and I was like, can't be. It's a show, Mama's Boy, and how they have a whole significant other, and the mom has created a pseudo husband with this child, and the child has a pseudo wife almost, and can't navigate life without falling. One of them couldn't even pour a glass of wine for his girlfriend until he called his mother. He couldn't even pay his bill. I was like, now here's a guy that proposed to somebody. That would have been a red flag for me. So,
for sure.
That is like so important, because several of my clients down through the years have always said their husband was a mama's boy. And I think that comes from, and I'm just giving my experience and my understanding from my experience, comes from moms having those pseudo husbands with their children, and it goes too far. It just goes too far.
It's codependency.
Yes, it just goes too far. Yeah. It's codependency. It really is.
Codependency.
It's
Yeah.
codependency.
And I think it's as a mother, sometimes, going from mother to codependency can be a very easy thing to happen
Oh, very easy.
because you're constantly taking care of children. But then what happens when
Right.
you're not needed anymore?
Right.
When
There
that
you go. It's
being
the overboard. It's the
when that
overboard.
being needed was
Mhm.
security, was
Yep.
who you are.
Exactly
And then
right.
all of a sudden you're not needed anymore. So
Yep.
they
That's exactly
create that
right.
codependency however
Right.
you can,
That's exactly right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're so right because it's easy to transition into that.
Yeah.
And that comes from, and I just, let me tell you, I do deep dives into my own life. And I just said this about myself on a live, I think this morning, and how I had to literally say, hey, I got to get a life. They got a life. I'm busy worrying about them. They're going on vacation. They're going to other states. They're going everywhere. And I'm sitting there like, oh, what are you guys doing? So that was bad. The other thing is vicariously living for your children. Woo,
Yeah.
that codependent. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that is what created it's part of what created my
Yes.
ex-husband's
Okay.
narcissism. Is
Okay.
because his father put so many expectations. His father was living out his dreams through his
His
son.
son. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. And that
it,
normally happens.
it
Um,
does.
it happens. The father does that, and then the mother is like, not, don't be so mean to him. Let him do this. Since you
Right.
did this for your dad, here's a gift. I'll let you do this, and I won't tell him. Right?
Yeah.
I won't tell him. So she's jeopardizing her marriage. You know what I'm saying? And I won't tell him. And there's a whole lot of covering because I call that's what I call a pseudo, because you would do that for your husband. You wouldn't do that for your child because you're not
Yeah.
teaching your child anything. A lot of other things is, I think after that, they're not thinking that they are not doing them any good because you're older. You could die sooner. And you're leaving this mess,
Right. Behind.
yes,
Yeah.
to go on to another woman or another man's life
Yes.
that
To
you didn't
perpetuate the cycle.
successfully prepare them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big proponent of it too.
I feel like we all need our own therapists.
We do need therapists. People need to. I mean, it's not your best friend. I'm gonna tell you now, it's not.
Yeah.
And they can be a therapist themselves, but it's not. It's different. The
Yeah.
dynamic is different. You need somebody. And when I talk to my therapist, I said, I love coming in here. She said, you do? I said, because I don't have to ask you how you doing. I don't have to even care how you doing. And I just start talking.
It's all
I just
about
start
me.
talking. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's like you have a sound resting place for all your issues, and then you know what? Once you get them out, you can start piecing them together, but you keep holding them in, it gets worse and worse and worse.
So why are people so afraid of therapy then?
Say it again.
So why are people so afraid of therapy?
Because they don't want to see themselves. Usually, when you go to a
Uh,
therapist, you see the therapist to me, and I'm gonna tell you, is like a full glass, full length mirror. You see all
yeah.
the bumps.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's a whole package. So the
Yeah.
minute you see that, it's like, whoa, whoa, and like you worry about, maybe you worry about, I don't know, your weight. Maybe you're like, oh, but then you realize when you're at the therapist, I did that. I did all of that. And then the stress, maybe the stress or whatever, but then I did that. That reason why I don't like me is because I put that on me. It's not
Yeah.
because you don't like yourself. It's because you're mad at yourself, like for doing that to yourself. So, but what do? What's the solution? Do something about it.
Right.
Most of the times we don't wanna. It takes work to
It takes
undo.
change.
Yes, to
Yeah.
undo. Like unraveling a ball of yarn.
Yeah.
That takes work. I've seen somebody make a ball of yarn, and start like, and then I was like, this is taking too long. Don't you got something for this? Like, it takes a lot, right? But unraveling it is even longer because you got to make sure there's no knots. You got to go back where it started from and redo things. That's what's happening at the therapist. He or she may not even say nothing to you. It's just the fact you're there. And you know that it's just going to open up. The space feels safe. And you get there, you get emotional, whether you get mad that you're there, but you really want to cry. A whole lot of things happen because it's a safe space, a space away from all the troubles. Everything. It's like going on vacation. You go in there, you don't even feel like you're in the same state anymore. You're like, where the heck am I? It's like you teleport somewhere. But yeah, that's what it is. It's seeing themselves. Themselves.
Yeah. And I think therapy in general is associated with like when something went wrong. Like if we got therapists when everything was right, then maybe we could handle when things go wrong.
There you go. That's
you know what
key.
I mean? So we got to start therapy when we're like 5 years old.
That's the
and
key.
Then life will be better.
That's the key. It's really, and I really do think it's so important. Whatever you can do to kind of make yourself better. I think about the children when there was an epidemic of what's that? It's the one that for the college students always wanted to stay up. I know during my time it was like they was taking this one pill. Everybody stay up and be like, and then that started an epidemic when really they just needed to slow down and stop.
Yeah.
Parents were putting too much on them and they weren't ready. My son told me, and he was 15. He said, Mom, comes in, he said, Mom, school is not for kids. I said, what are you talking about? I don't know. So he says, because metabolically, this is a 15-year-old kid's telling me, we're supposed to have to sleep for 17 hours. How do we do that? And I'm like, oh my goodness, he's so right. And he says, then we go to school all this time and all the stuff that we learn, we need to unlearn because we need to go to college.
Right.
We need to unlearn that because it's not necessary for high school. It's not necessary for college. So we need to unlearn that. If we take a trade, we need to unlearn all of that in order to take the trade. He said, so it's kind of backwards. And I said, well, what do you think the solution is? He said, I think every kid should pick their own way. I said, okay. So what are you picking? So he says, well, I think I want to do a trade. I think I have something in mind, but I'm going to need you. He was talking like a grown man. I'm like, it's like, what is this? But they sometimes, why I'm saying that is parents forget along the way because we get, like you said, hustle. We forget to talk to them.
Yeah.
We forget to talk to them. And they can give you the answer.
Yeah.
We get to talk to them.
Yeah, it's hard to slow down sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
That's why it's good to have meditation. And I do that with my grandkids. So when they come visit me, it's a group thing. If you get up at 7, that's what I'm doing. So there's no noise. We're gonna everybody on the same bandwagon. The dog is like that in the morning. She's like, oh God, I just got up to go back to sleep. So he knows at 7 she's gonna be meditating. There's no movement, no. He just sits down right next to me, But even just that slowing them down help them to understand a lot of things.
Morning time is my favorite time of day.
Me too.
That's the house is quiet, nobody else is up, and I am meditating, journaling, looking at my vision board. Like that's me time.
That's good. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Scanning through my not my what ifs, but my win book is like, okay, got this going, got that going. Yeah. And reminding myself of what my vision is. So thank you so much for sharing a lot of your life and everything with us. Tell us about your practice and then we'll get the final thoughts for you for today.
Okay. So Keep Finding You is my practice. I do one-on-one coaching I have a couple different packages available. One is a breakthrough intensive, which is 3 weeks. We can knock out one problem or one area in your life that you really want to attack quickly. And then I have the transformation journey, which is a 3-month package where we can look at your whole life and get you set and going in the right direction. But I am a firm believer in the law of attraction. So what you put out into this world is what you are going to get back. So sometimes, so I like to work with women on figuring out how to stop chasing what they want and start attracting it into their lives.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So what's one thing you could tell the audience today to keep with them if they didn't listen to nothing else? Take this with them.
So I adore Brené Brown. Her research on shame and vulnerability has struck me to my core. So this quote of hers, I love. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. Yeah. And if people could just embrace that, this world would be a better place.
Well, that's good. I like it. Yeah, I've read that one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, this brings us to the end of the show, and we're wrapping it up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, because you could be anywhere else. But today you're with us. You're with me and my esteemed guest, Naomi Kreske, and we're going to say bye for now.